Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be speaking about the is operator. The is operator is a short way of checking the IDs of two objects. What does that mean? So I've got this variable named userEntry1 and it's basically a string, and we are just printing out the ID of that string, which is also an object, and then this is the second string. Then what we want to do is we want to use the is operator to check if these two IDs are the same. So let's go ahead and do that. First, let's just run the program. And so if I put in the value test and another value test, notice how both of these got different IDs. And we've spoken about the ID function in the previous, or in a couple of previous videos. So let's just check using the is operator if the IDs are the same or not. So I'm going to put the results into a variable called are they equal? And then let's call it userEntry1 is, and then userEntry2. Okay, and then let's print out the result. Now, alternatively, what we can do is we can just print it out in one line here like that. So that's also another way. This would be probably an easier way, especially if you only wanted to print out the result on that instance of time or on that line only. But if you found that you want to put it into a variable because you're going to use that in multiple places or somewhere else, then it will be probably more helpful to put it in a variable. If these are changing then throughout the program and you're going to do the check later, then it's always better to rewrite this whenever you need to, because otherwise the value that is stored here is going to be either true or false, depending on if these two IDs were similar at that point in the program or not. So you want to keep that in mind as well when you're putting things like this in variables. Okay, so let's give it a run and let's see. So I'm going to write the exact same thing, although they are both got the same values. So test, but both of these are separate objects in memory. And so using the is operator is going to allow us to check if those IDs are the same. Is it the same object in the memory? Now, if you want to check if the values are the same, then use the double equal to operator. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to reuse that variable over here. And now I'm going to just change this to double equal to. So that's going to be checking if the IDs are both the same. It doesn't really look at the content, but in the double equals to sign it's going to check if the values are similar. So now if I put in test and then test again, I get false for the first time because that's the ID check. And the second time is looking at content check. And so that's why it's given us true. Now, if I'm going to show an example when this would be when this will be true, is if we make userEntry point to userEntry2 point to userEntry1, okay, then both of userEntry1 and 2 refer to the same objects in memory. So we sort of, a reference to this will be lost, okay, to that ID is going to be lost because now this user entry is going to refer to that same object. And I should have put in here 1 and then 2 because it doesn't make sense yet, but now I think you were able to get the point. Yeah, so now if I've made this object refer to that, so now they both have the same IDs. And so notice what I'm trying to say is you actually need to redo this. Probably not very useful putting it into a variable in this case, but it's just a bit more explanatory in this kind of program. So now we're going to check if both IDs are the same using the is operator again. And so now we get false the first time because both of these had different IDs. And then we are checking if the content is the same? Well, we got false because I made a mistake here and I put a capital E. Obviously, the value of capital letters is different to the value of a small cap. And then in the last print statement, we got true because now we've actually made this object refer to the same ID as that. So we've got now two references pointing to the same object, and just put into consideration that the reference that was the reference to this memory address is gone, which will be collected by the garbage collector later on. Okay, so I hope this helped you differentiate between or find another way of comparing if the IDs are the same, and also probably helped you get a better understanding on when to use the double equal sign and when to use the is operator. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.